Welcome, everyone, to episode 113 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today, I welcome back Florida artist D.Vair. D.Vair was on episode 13 way back in 2020. We were able to reconnect today, and I talked with him about what he's been up to since the time of the pandemic. That was back when he released his Fruition EP, and he talked about kind of where he's been since then as far as creatively songwriting, where he's at being in the studio and everything, working on his next EP. We talked about his 2021 album called What It Takes and how that was kind of an evolution from Fruition. And I'm really just, happy to hear that he is still doing his thing, working with a lot of different people in Florida and elsewhere. He talked about potentially doing a live show soon. It could be for his EP release. Also doing some music videos eventually for those songs, which is going to be cool to see. And look out for him potentially doing acting eventually. We talked about the possibility of that being in the pipeline for him. And, like I said, I'm just appreciative of being able to reconnect with him. And I'm glad to hear that he's still doing his thing strong. And anytime he wants to come back, I'm definitely open for it. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Welcome, everyone, to episode 113 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we have another part 2 episode, another returning guest. This guy was on episode 13 way back in the summer of 2020. D.Vair is here. How are you, man?
I'm great, man. I appreciate it, man. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Welcome back, and I'm doing great, and I'm glad to get you back on here. And obviously, it's been about 2 years since that first episode came out, so for those that might not have heard that episode, just give a little bit of a refresher, who you are when you got into music, a real brief summary for those that might not have heard you the first time around.
For sure, I got you. So, I started rapping when I was 12. I was born in New York, a Brooklyn kid, moved to Florida when I was about 7. So, when I was 12, I was in 7th grade, and, I just started rapping. I liked it. Ever since then, I just kept rapping, started recording at 16, so that's 8 years now recording. And, I'm just working on expanding my craft, staying real to myself and paying homage to the game, as much as I can, because that's what it's all about, keeping it real with yourself. Mm-hmm. And respecting the godfathers of the music, respecting what the legends have put down, and trying to just pave my own lane with what I learned from them, so that's really what I hone in on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love to act as well. But music is my main passion for sure. Networking. I like going to different events. I like doing a lot of things. But as far as the music, I got a lot in the works right now. I got projects out, a whole catalog. So yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Love it, man. And I definitely want to recap the last couple years, because when we first talked, it was during the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember the card that was like the promo for your episode. You had like the mask on and everything. So it was like, if you go back and like listen to the episode, you'll see that it's the picture of you with the mask on and everything. And I like used that specifically because I'm like, we're gonna look back on this and be like, wow, that was a real time.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy, man, for sure.
So I know that was around the time when the Fruition EP was like a thing, and I remember we talked about that and kind of the process behind that one. So what do you think you've learned really just about yourself in general since that time creatively? Like, I know we're going to get into some of these projects that you've done, but what do you think is kind of the difference between when you made that and kind of where you're at now in making music?
I mean, honestly, I just digest the fact of, just appreciating the moment and just trying to grow, trying to elevate from what you have done. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, from what I have done. And I just feel like I learned a lot from that time and now. Creatively speaking, I feel like I expanded my craft more, because I really like to. I feel like it's vital to implement or incorporate what you learn in real life, into your music as an artist. Whether it's some type of emotion you felt, some type of wisdom you gain, it's always good to kind of, because that's real, like real life. You know what I'm saying? Once you put that real life in the music, that's what people want to hear. That's what sells records. And then that's also hand in hand. You being real with yourself, so you don't have no guilt. You know what I'm saying? You're keeping it solid. Man, Fruition, dude. Time flew. Time flew,
It
man.
did, man.
Time flew. Man, listen. I was in a different musical space at that time. I was just in a different space, bro. And I learned a lot from there. That's really all I can say about that, man.
Mm-hmm. Do you kind of like
I don't really.
sit and kind of look back at that though, and you're like, you kind of just appreciate it for kind of what it was, and you kind of, cause like I'd say a lot of artists with their past work, they kind of tend to not look back. They kind of are just
Mm-hmm.
focused on now. So it kind of sounds like that's what it is for you, where you're like,
Yeah.
it was a moment in time, like you appreciate it, but it's not like you don't sit there and dwell on it. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah,
looking,
yeah.
yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Now, last year you did the What It Takes album, which was I think a bigger project. Like you had some more songs on there. So what was that like doing that project? Like how was that different from let's say Fruition, for example?
Hey, great question. I feel like What It Takes was more gritty. It was more. Uh, I wasn't being passive, on that album for sure. I was definitely trying to hit better pockets and have a stronger cadence, rhyme flows and rhyme schemes, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I try to implement like what I learned in real life, and then just that project right there for sure, it's definitely embedded in my heart. Like that album is like me really trying to. It's really me saying like, yo, this is what it takes to be a great. Like that's me confidently saying that. Like obviously like everybody, someone might say, who is this guy to say this or whatever, but if you listen to the records, like it's not a that things were certain, things are carefully constructed. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a blabbering or whatever. It's actually records.
Yeah.
So that's really what I don't really like to speak upon like my music. I try to be humble and still confident, but I let the music speak for itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I love that though, because it's like you really, that just goes to show you're really putting real emotion into the music. You know what I mean? Because it's like sometimes I think really the whole purpose of songs in general are to kind of express the emotion that you can't express through words. You know what I mean? So if someone's asking you like, how do you describe this song or whatever, it's like artists can't really describe their own stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like it just is what it is. Like you just gotta appreciate it for what it is. And like, and I think the beauty of it too is people can interpret things in different ways that apply to their own life. So if you hear a song and like the artist intended one thing, it could mean something different to you, but it could have even more meaning that way. So I think that that's really the best method to go about it, as opposed to just picking everything apart. And it kind of like makes it lose its magic a little bit. Like if you know everything about a song, you know what I mean? You don't really, as a listener, you kind of just want to be immersed and like enjoy it. You don't really have to know every little detail of like how the songs came together or whatever. But yeah, I definitely think that just goes to show like the true emotion and character behind all the songs, and especially for that album too. Because I remember you put it out and you were just very like, I felt like you were, even though we didn't talk at that time, like I felt like you were very confident about that release, and it did pretty well, I think, from what I saw. And just leading up to where you are now, I think that was a great like step for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you so much, man.
So I don't really remember if we talked about in 2020 like where you were recording at. I don't know if you were in studios or like at your house or whatever, but where are you now recording a lot of your music? Are you at home? Did you get like another engineer or something? I don't really remember what we talked about the first time around, but where are you at now with that?
For sure, man. First of all, I just want to say, I want to add on to what you're saying with the music thing. It's subjective, so that's how it is. It's up to the people. But aside from that, like with the recording thing, I want to say, man, like I just want to say everyone that I ever recorded a record with, like it's all love, and anyone I recorded with was in a creative space, creative vibe, and that's what happened. But as of right now, I would say my main studio is Mix and Masters, or I would say one of my main ones. I'm not gonna say that's my main one, but Mix and Masters, you feel me? It's in Miami, so that's one of the spots I pop out to record my records. I actually recorded my last the EP I'm currently working on. So Yeah,
Hmm.
that's probably my main one. I got a couple home studios with some trustable people in my circle that I go to record sometimes as well. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically what it is. I try to record with the best of the best. Try to utilize my resources to the best of my ability.
Hmm. Yeah, it probably helps keep the quality high too and up to your standard as well. So,
Yeah.
what like producers or even other artists are you working with currently, or maybe that you worked with on the last project that you want to
Mhm.
shout out that have been kind of pretty helpful to this journey you're on?
I definitely want to give a big shout out to Legitimate L3. That's definitely he had a couple. I got a good amount of songs I recorded with him and some beats I did with him. He had 2 beats on What It Takes, yeah, and he had I think 2 or 3 songs on Fruition. So he's a really good, very talented producer for sure. He lives in South Florida as well. We got Don Millie, Marathon Don, or uh, yeah, you know what I'm saying. He's a crazy producer too. Um, and he got a lot of experience in the game. He's from New York as well, and you know what I'm saying. He's a crazy producer, dope, insane. I recorded a lot of music with him, bro, but he's incredible. And then another producer that I recorded some records with. It's not out yet, but Solo Sevi. Shout out to him as well. He's an artist too, but he has some crazy beats. I recently worked with this guy named Somar. Uh, I recorded a single with him. The single goes. I mean, I'm just working with people that want to expand, man. They want to make great music. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that's just all. That's a couple that I'm mentioning. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shout out to all those producers, man, for sure. Great work that they do.
Yeah, it's got to be cool too to kind of when you do that and you work with like a few different people, you can kind of tap into different sides of your own sound. You know what I mean? Because all those
Yep.
producers probably have a different style, so you can kind of go to one person for one thing, go to the other person for another thing, and kind of just bring it all together at the end and just see like where it goes. So I think that's kind of cool for you as well because you'll be able to kind of like songwrite in different ways to the different production that they're creating and just see what comes out of that. So that's definitely cool. Now, for this new EP, how many songs are we talking? How many songs are done? Like, what do you want to reveal about it? At least what you can reveal about it, where it's at now.
Okay. Well, right now I can tell you that the recording is done, and it's 4 songs. So you know, I believe in quality over quantity. So it's really just me calculating my steps and strategizing the best way I can as far as how I want to release it. But I just want to make sure this is, I want this to be the best work I put out. The best current work I put out, because everything, got to be better than the last.
Yeah.
And yeah, this EP. I mean, I could say the name. I mean, I hashtag the name all the time. You know what I'm saying? But it's called Full Circle.
Nice. I like that too because it's kind of like you had Fruition and now you got Full Circle. I don't know. It kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. Is it kind of like continuing that story, or it's just a totally different thing?
I mean, but something like that, something along those lines for sure. You know what I'm saying? That's a good question though. It's I feel like my projects are interconnected, whether it's minimal or a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's me. Me keeping it real throughout all these projects. So it's probably gonna have some type of connection somewhere. Sometimes I may not be able to see it. Sometimes I may do it intentionally or not. But you could say, I guess you could say that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Full Circle. But it's R&B, so it's like it's kind of like it's distinctive. It's definitely because I did a song with Saving Eli, Round the Way.
Yeah.
And, I got like Know the Deal and stuff, but I didn't really put out. Not to undermine my work that's out now, but like I didn't put out like I'm constantly working on my voice, and I've been working on my voice for the past like 2-3 years. As far as like singing and my vocals and stuff. So the work that I'm putting out for the EP is like more current, and it has more of like my real voice in there. And I work with some great producers and engineers, so it's gonna be dope.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like I think it's gonna be dope for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing it, man. So you got to keep me posted whenever it's coming out. Obviously, I'll be like looking on social media for it as well. So
Yeah,
definitely be on the lookout. So
yeah, I appreciate it.
yeah. So obviously, a couple years ago, live shows were kind of hard to come by, and even
Mm-hmm.
into last year, it kind of wasn't really a thing in a lot of places. But have you been able
Mm-hmm.
to get out there and do some different shows in the past like several months, or are you looking to do maybe like a little run of shows eventually, especially with the new music?
Yeah, I plan on doing some runs for the shows. There's other things in life, I had to kind of adhere to
Mm-hmm.
over the span of the last months or so, last year or two. Um, so I'm just trying to coordinate certain things right now. But as far as like, sorry, ask the question again. My bad, bro.
No, you're
I lost
good.
my train.
It was if are you looking to do any live shows like in the coming months?
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
my
don't know if
fault.
you've done any like previously, like, but
No, not even recently. It's
okay.
really I've been backed up with that. I mean, the only thing I really did, like, I was at this rooftop spot in like this little lounge slash like club or whatever in Fort Lauderdale, it's a city in Florida, and I was on the rooftop and I told the DJ played my record. He played Round Away. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
it was cool. It was a cool vibe. They was showing love. So as far as me, like, not really shows, but like more like popping out and like showing love to DJs or telling them to play my record or something like that. Like right now, I can say I know enough DJs right now as to where like I can promote myself a lot when I drop my project.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put it out there for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned something about acting earlier, how you're passionate about that. So what does that entail exactly? Is that going to be like you in maybe TV or something, like ads, like
Um,
mini movies? Like what are
so
we talking about here?
so it could be something definitely possible along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I know like a few people and stuff, but like as far as right now, like I don't think that's like my main thing, but it's something that I would love to do because like I've done it growing up, doing skits or uh, what's it called? I was in the drama class, drama club in high school and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yep.
I did a show. I did a show in front of people, like a monologue, dialogue, and I mean, I feel it feels natural when I'm acting. Like it's fun,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'll dive into that in the future for sure,
Yeah.
in the near future.
It's definitely something that could be used as like another creative outlet too. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, but aside from music and just be like, oh, like I also act and do this and kind of just dive into that world. It's definitely
But
something that like would
mm-hmm.
be interesting to see where you could take it.
Of course, I mean, and you can even start on a lesser level. I could just act in my music videos.
Yeah.
Have a skit before the song starts, or in the midst of the song or whatever.
Yeah. So that
I can do it that way. I can. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that kind of leads me into the next question. I was going to ask about music videos. Do you have like visuals planned for this EP coming up? Do you kind of have things
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
mapped out?
Yes. Yeah. I have it's different stages that I put my projects through.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that stage one is done, which is recording. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm gonna say right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 4 stages, so
So that's
it'll
in there.
be
Yeah, visuals are in there
yeah.
somewhere. I just don't know the numbers. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely looking forward to that as well. Is there any other surprises that might be in store this year or maybe like early next year? Obviously, we're halfway through the year at this point. What else should people be on the lookout for?
Shit. Probably another. I'm gonna do a show. I'm gonna get to do a show soon.
Mm-hmm.
Get that coordinated. Have some. Have one of my videographers pop out or whatever, or photographers. Get some content. I just gotta post more on my IG.
Yeah.
More constantly, and yeah, that's basically it. It's really, and I got singles that's coming too as well that I'm working on right now that I feel like is gonna really get people ready for the EP. You know, it's gonna lean them towards it. You know, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, you could do like an EP, almost like a release party too, like a show for
Hey,
that or something. That would
that's
be
what I'm
kind of
doing.
cool. Yeah. So I don't think I got to ask these next couple questions on the first episode because I don't think I was asking these at the time. But the first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Mm. I would probably tell myself, you know, don't, don't be gullible. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I tell myself, don't be gullible, man. I would tell myself to be patient and don't try to just you get a hunch or something might come true. You get excited and shit like that or whatever. Like, just be patient. Probably, I don't know, probably something like that along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just say keep working.
Yeah, that's probably the most important one of all too. Just kind of like stay focused and keep your head down. Yeah. So if we flip it then and we say 10 years from now, where do you envision yourself in your life and your career?
Okay, at 34. I mean, I envision myself, you know, ideally, you know, with the family and some type of success in my passion, you know, or success in the field of my scholarly field or whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say I want to be like a hip hop mogul. Like I want to be an artist. You feel me? Like one of the biggest artists, you know, to come out at a decade. Like I want to be one of the best. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At that time, 10 years from now, I want a family. You know, I want stabilization. You know, and I want to fully understand myself. Like understand myself more. You know what I'm saying? Like I definitely want to just understand life more.
Yeah, love that, man. So do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
You know, this might sound generic, but keep following your dreams. Mm-hmm. Nobody can stop you but yourself. You know, look in the mirror and say, you got this, and say, you're meant for this, you know what I'm saying? And put your mind to it. Mm-hmm. You know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So be great. That's really what I can say. Yeah, and keep pushing. Keep grinding.
Man, D.Vair, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for, reconnecting with me. This was great. Great to catch up and everything. Looking forward to the new EP, man. Looking forward to everything you got going. I'm glad that you're still doing your thing. And we'll reconnect very soon, I'm sure of it, man.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Anthony. Hey, much love and respect. Be safe. I really appreciate you having me once again.
Thanks, everyone, for listening today. That was episode 113. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.